What's up, guys? The legal tampering period is now open, and NFL teams will be adding talent to their roster to gear up for the upcoming draft. In this 7-round Jets mock draft, we're making the picks. Stick around, and we will look to reshape the future of the New York Jets. I'm Julian Locasto, joined by my co-host, Nick Perry, and this is the Gang Green Report. Let's get into this. Welcome to our second edition of Mock Draft Mondays, where we'll be putting our GM caps on and making the picks to help our beloved New York Jets in shaping this roster, not just for 2025, but for the years to come. This week, guys, we're going to be sticking and picking at 7. So let's get this thing started right away. We're going to go over to our mock draft simulator, and we're going to get this rolling. Again, we are going to stick and pick. But first, Nick, we do have some news in terms of a pick that we need to get back. Turns out the Raiders screwed up, and we actually have this pick. So I'm going to force trade this back to us so that we have our third-round pick back. And let's start this draft first. All right, so we are sticking and picking, and the New York Jets luck out somehow, and we have Abdul Carter in our drafts at number 7. I think that nothing more needs to be said there. I think we need to go with Abdul Carter here.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I take that.
Getting the best edge rusher in this, and possibly even the best player in the entire draft at number 7. This is a home run steal here.
That'd be insane.
Number 7. Pick number 42 coming up. All right, so we have edge. So obviously go based on needs here. So our biggest need is probably the interior of the defensive line. We have tackle. We don't know what's going on with Morgan Moses. Right off the bat, just from looking here, Josh Conerly Jr., which is somebody you talked about in one of our past videos.
Yep.
He's sitting here at number 42, and he's one of the top tackles on this board. Primarily a left tackle guy, but I think he could swing over to right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his pass blocking is incredible. Like we talked about, his run is incredible. Can you scroll down just a little bit? Is he there? Oh, he is there. Yeah. Okay. Just curious. I was wondering
if
it's another edge. I was just curious if he was off the board yet or not. I was just looking at Princely, but I know we already have an edge. I was just curious if he was there.
Yeah, we just took an edge. Let's look at the interior guys because that's a big, big need for us. Shamar Turner is there. Sure. That's another guy that'll probably be Alfred Collins, a guy that we talked about in a video beforehand. I like him.
Yep.
Shamar Turner.
High where we are now, but Jordan Phillips is good.
Jordan Phillips out of Maryland. Take him.
Yeah,
receiver. Because the receivers drop off really badly after this pick.
Yeah, I mean Tez Johnson's there. That's still again right now is very high for Tez Johnson, but just to think they were talking about his size. They were worried about his weight. So
he ran a really bad 40.
And he ran a really bad 40. I just keep seeing him drop.
Receivers that I like here, I like Alec Ayomanor. I definitely butch that. Ayomanor.
Man coverage is unreal with him.
Yeah. And there's a video of him going viral right now, burning Travis Hunter down the field.
Perfect.
A guy that I think is going to be a sneaky player is Xavier Restrepo from Miami. He's a route running technician. And his grade against man coverage is absolutely insane. I know going after a 5'10 slot receiver is probably not the best option. But, I think this is a guy who has a very low drop rate. He only had 2 drops the entire season. This is a guy that, can win against man coverage. I definitely think he's going to be an option. Jalen Knoll is somebody who stands out to me here. I think the only problem really with me at this position right now is there's so many good defensive players, but tackle is definitely a big need and receiver is a big need that just drops off right away. I personally am leaning towards Conerly. What are you leaning towards right now?
Yeah, I know. The only reason why I'm not saying Xavier Watson, I'm like 99% sure we took him on our last draft. So
we did, yes.
We did, yes. I'm trying to switch it up, obviously, a little bit. I would say Conerly just because we didn't take that last time, especially. Yeah. I mean, Trey Amos is there. That would be another amazing pick. East Carolina, Ravel, that's also a good pick. You've been seeing him float around a lot. Yep. It's a little high, but I think Conerly's like the way to go here.
Yep, let's do it. Let's not overthink it. All right, so this is our actual pick that we got back from the Raiders. So this gives us a ton of options.
This is
You know, if we didn't go
new
Connerly
territory.
in the last pick, it's actually crazy because Ozzy Trapillo, a guy that I brought up in one of our last videos, he's
The gigantic
here.
man.
Big guy. Now that I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse on Josh Connerly, but it's okay. We move forward. I see right off the bat, Omar Norman Lott, defensive interiors here. Benjamin Morrison is here. Mason Taylor is here. Chris Paul Jr. is here. You know, linebacker is a sneaky need. But the big names that pop off is Norman Lott, Benjamin Morris, Mason Taylor. Those are like 3 positions of need that I would definitely be okay with going here. Norman Lott, big guy. Got
Unreal
great pass rushing ability. Is fairly decent in the run as well. But this is a guy who wins. He wins off the edge. He can play. He plays a little bit of off ball, plays outside the tackle a little bit, plays primarily in the A and B gaps. So this is a guy that I think over the interior could really help us. But I'm also really, really intrigued by Benjamin Morris. I think this is a guy that could be a great complementary CB2 who's very good in the run game, surprisingly. This could be a good CB2 to build around in our secondary if we don't end up going with anybody in free agency. But I also think Mason Taylor here being a good tight end option is somebody that I really, really like as well.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on this pick?
This is such unknown territory for us. Now this is like a gift. 73.
We got a higher pick, so yeah, this is good. This is good stuff here. We have a lot to pick from.
I feel like me personally, I would go with Omar just to make honestly. I would just pick him just because we were just atrocious at run defense last year, and get Quinn the help that he wants, get Quinn the help that he needs, keep him happy, especially after those nice, lovely tweets that he threw out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the only thing holding me back from like Benjamin Morrison is just the injury last year. But I mean, other than that, I think Omar Norman makes a lot of sense. And especially Mason Taylor is great, but who knows? Like we said our last video, like Juwan Johnson, free agent, get him in there. That'd be a solid. He'd be a great backup, you know. But I think I would pick Omar, but that's just me.
Let's not overthink it. Let's just go for it. All right. Still some really good players on the board here. We can go safety. Big guys that pop up for me right now is Mukuba out of Texas. He's probably one of my favorite sleeper safeties right now. Jonas Sanker, also another really good safety option.
Gunnar Helm, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant's on there. Jamari Caldwell, famous player with the New York Jets, but obviously we just took a defensive interior. I don't think we should double up on that position, especially because I think we're going to add to that in free agency as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the guys on the board here. I'm leaning towards safety in this spot because there's 2 premium safeties that I really like at this position. There's also Gunnar Helm is still here. Let's see what the tight ends look like as of right now. This is the problem that we're going to run into as we get to this stage with the tight ends. We're going to see a big drop off in tight ends. I'm going to go under the assumption that we signed Juwan Johnson. That's what this. So I'm not going to take tight end here. I'm assuming we took Juwan Johnson. So I want to go maybe best player available in this spot at a position of need. So I'm leaning towards Mukuba. That's my pick. I think he's a very under the radar safety right now. High forced incompletion rate, very good against the run, insane against coverage as well. So I think this is a guy that would immediately be a starter at a position of need in the 4th round.
Click on him one more time.
This is a guy that I really like.
And then look at the improvement year after year after year, especially moving divisions, playing harder.
Came from Alabama.
Strength of schedule. I mean, he played, like I said, strength of schedule, improvement year after year after year is just, I think that's a no-brainer too, especially how hard we hit those. How hard we hit the safeties in the last one. 5 interceptions, no touchdowns allowed, 6 incompletions forced. I mean, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that we got to go after. So right then and there, I think right away, the first 4 guys we've picked so far are guys that could easily slot in and be contributors from day one.
Yeah, and I think that, and you look at like other teams, I've been seeing a lot of other talk about the Jets, how we've been just consistently missing on second third round picks. And I think these guys, like you just said, slot right in. This would be like a whole turnaround from what we're used to from like Jets drafts.
Yeah. And there's still some good tight ends on the board right here in the 5th round. Mitchell Evans is still here. He's a guy that I like. I don't necessarily like the guy from Clemson, but if we wanted to take Mitchell Evans, he's here. Another guy that Jets fans are falling in love with right now is Jackson Hawes. He's like probably the best tight end in terms of blocking in the entire draft. That's like his go-to thing. His run block grade here is insane. I still think he'll probably be there in our next pick in the 5th round or maybe even into the 6th round. So I would be okay with not even taking him here. But Mitchell Evans being here, good high contested catch rate. He's decent in the run game. He's not obviously the best run blocker, but he's, somebody who's been consistent for Notre Dame over the last 2 seasons, both putting up 400 plus yards. He's not exactly going to be an end zone threat. I don't know if I would go with him here, but he's an option. Quinn Ewers is also still on the board. Another guy that we could potentially go after is Tyler Barron. Edge is like a sneaky need for us here. Tyler Barron, very good run stop rate on the edge. Pass rush grades, 18.6% pass rush win rate. Had 10 sacks this past year and 6 the season prior. Could be a really good guy that we can add to our room.
Yeah, honestly, just everybody like on the list who we've looked at before. Obviously, not in need of a running back, not in need of safety because we just drafted one. I think the tight end, like you said, is a little bit high with Mitchell Evans because especially if Jackson Hawes is still there, I would take Tyler Barron.
Yeah, Tyler Barron would be a great selection here. I think, again, this is a guy that could be a depth edge piece and somebody that can rotate in, especially when JJ's coming back from his injury. And, as we're sitting here now in the later half of the 5th, we still have some guys that are available that, Quinn Ewers is still on the board. If we want to take an option, like a swing at quarterback, Quinn Ewers is here. Kyle McCord, somebody who I also really like, is still here. Kyle Williams, a receiver that is flying up boards right now. Nick Nash, somebody that we've talked about in the past. These are all guys that can be really good pieces for us to add. Give me your thoughts. I think we still have a need for corner if we haven't taken one in free agency. What are we thinking? Are we assuming that the Jets took a corner in free agency, or are we adding to that room here? Because Quincy Riley could be a good option here if we're going for corner. We could also go for Kyle Williams and Nick Nash to kind of add to the wide receiver room as well.
Oh no, this is like the hardest round. It's crazy. I think, yeah, me personally, I wouldn't go with like Quinn, especially. I don't know, some of the videos like surfacing around him too. Seems like his attitude in some of these interviews, people aren't so high on him. I don't know. Quincy Riley, I mean, yeah, his 2023 season was outstanding. 2024, a little bit of a drop off, but was injured. Looks great. Completion percentage is low. He just looks good.
He's a big riser from like the Senior Bowl. He had like a really good week against some bigger name competition.
It's just so hard to look at.
He's flying up boards right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's for me. It's hard to look past like a Kyle Williams or like a Nick Nash. I feel like at this point,
super good production from Kyle Williams.
Right, I mean, 14 TDs last year. Who was the only one that beat him? Nick Nash.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't go wrong.
Has a really high grade against man coverage.
Pretty sure Kyle Williams ran like that unreal 40.
Yes, he ran a really good 40.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I feel like now he's flying up draft boards.
Traits plus production usually mean that this is a guy that you take in the later rounds.
Yeah.
So I would go with Kyle here.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more picks left. We've hit on tackle, we've hit on edge, hit on the interior. We actually doubled up on edge. So we have really good rotational edge pieces. Safety, receiver. I think now in this part of the draft, we're looking for guys with traits. There's a lot of buzz about the Jets potentially looking into Tyler Shough.
Yeah.
He's flying up boards right now. There's a connection with Kyle McCord. I would potentially go either option here. Are we assuming the Jets went with Justin Fields in free agency?
I would assume it. I feel like he is just so heavily linked to the Jets, especially just waking up this morning. so
Yeah.
heavily linked to the Jets. So I mean, getting somebody like Kyle McCord kind of observed for a year, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like where I'm leaning. I don't want to miss out on. I mean, Tyler Shuck might be there for the next round. Me personally, I think I would do. I would probably take McCord. I mean, led the NCAA in what
Another
passing
guy that
yards.
tops for me right now is Tootin from Virginia Tech. He had an insane 40-yard dash. I know running back isn't exactly a big need for us, but he's a very good zone running scheme. I have a feeling we're going to be a very zone heavy scheme kind of guy. He's also very good in gap schemes. Had over 1,000, almost 1,200 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns last year, putting up an insane 40. I know we have a good running back room, but this could be a guy that could even be a good returner for us. There's also Caleb Ransall, who had a really good combine as well. This could be a guy that we can add in the later rounds. Again, traits matter in the 6th round. These are guys that you're just looking at guys that pop off from a physical standpoint. He had a really, really good 2023, had a little bit of a down year in 2024, but still somebody that could be a really good option for us. Played all over the field. He played corner to start his career, transitioned over to more of a slot guy, and then went exclusively deep and in the box. He's kind of played all over the place. So this could be even an option to have as like a depth corner piece. And he's super fast, had a blazing 40. So I would potentially look at Caleb here. I'd look at one of the quarterbacks. Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, I feel like you said, looking for more of like traits. I mean, you kind of almost sold me on Tootin,
Yeah.
from Virginia Tech, only because, like you said, I think Tyler Shuck might be there at the next round, and the Jets are being heavily linked to him. I feel like that's the round we go like a flyer on. I feel like the 6th at 187 still a valuable pick with going with traits. And like you said, I mean, we all know like injuries happen, so I mean, Tootin could be a solid pick, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's go with Tootin then here, and then our last pick of the draft. Again, I think last time we took. Who do we take? I think we took Frazier last time.
I think we did. Yep.
We took Frazier, the guard. He's still a guy that I really like, but Shuck is here. I think this would be the last pick for me, at least. I would take Shuck. This would round out our draft. Let's see what they gave us grade-wise.
What did we get last time? B+?
Yeah, I think we got like a B, B-. Let's see here.
Let's go.
Got an A. Got an A.
Look at that. Just moving up from 92 to 73.
They didn't like our Tyler Barron pick. But
I guess when you pick Abdul Carter, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I mean, we did kind of double up on edge, but I think the D-line needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I think getting rotational pieces to add that can at least step in right away until JJ comes back from injury. I think adding a rotational guy like Tyler Barron on the edge is not a bad option, especially if we don't add anybody in free agency. Again, we got our tackle of the future in Josh Connolly Jr. We got, our safety. We pretty much did everything that we could to really supplement this roster. Kyle Williams, I think, is going to be a steal in the later rounds for us. So I think overall, I think we did a pretty good job. So, I think, I don't know about you, but I think we pretty much did a pretty decent job with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think we kind of hit on everything we needed. I mean, top 19% of Jets on Jets drafts. I mean, we're looking good, man.
We're looking good. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think of this mock in the comments below. This is the Gang Green Report, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.